Did you know that drinking cow's milk doesn't protect your bones? Studies show that milk consumption can increase the risk for bone fractures, but drinking beer can actually prevent bone loss and osteoporosis, likely because it contains the micronutrient silicon. In moderation, beer is healthier than cow's milk, and it doesn't have pus in it. Don't drink pus, go vegan.
It kind of pains me to say this, but no. I appreciate the work PETA is doing for the animals. I feel like overall their messages are great and very well thought out. But as this video showcases, that's not always the case. And in case you didn't know this, I'm a vegan myself, but I would like to be as objective as I possibly can on my channel. Let's address her first claims first. Does milk consumption increase your risk of bone fractures? Her first study she showed was on postmenopausal women, and the other was on men and women alike, but from two large Swedish cohort studies. However, it's super important to look at these studies carefully. If you read the conclusions alone of this study, it becomes clear that vitamin D was the issue in this study, and low vitamin D levels are associated with a higher bone fracture risk. The other study she cited had other kinds of problems. While they did a great job accounting for some and adjusting for some confounders, they actually didn't adjust for many things, or had some limitations to look at other confounders. Also may have caused these results are the reverse causation phenomenon, meaning people that have osteoporosis are more likely to drink more milk. The studies she cited have some limitations, which we all should take into considerations. A better way to assert an association is to look at systematic reviews or meta-analysis, as we actually can see in this umbrella review of systematic reviews and meta-analysis. In this review, they included 41 of the most recent meta-analysis, and they summarize the outcomes of the association with milk consumption in this map. And you can see that the association for cancer were the highest. And the ones that are associated with bones, meaning the skeletal ones, are kind of like in the lower parts. Although cancer wasn't a part of the discussion during the PETA video, let's discuss this and touch upon it briefly. Because gastric cancer and prostate cancer were the only cancer that were associated with an increased risk. That association was seen at a high consumption of dairy, at over 200 grams on a daily basis. The association was even a little bit higher when we looked at high-fat milk. But let's actually have a look at bone fractures. Milk consumption was not related to risk of hip fractures, while every additional 200 grams of daily milk consumption was connected with a 39% lower risk of osteoporosis. Milk consumption may actually be protective when it comes to bone health. But if you truly want to have great healthy bones as you age, I recommend you to do some resistance training as well, and eating an adequate amount of calcium on a daily basis. Combining these two are actually a great way to prevent osteoporosis. By the way, I'm not promoting milk consumption. Milk consumption is not ethical. I recommend everybody to go watch videos about the horrific scenes that are happening behind the curtains of dairy productions. It's not a pleasant sight. And also the environmental impact dairy consumption has on our planet is not a great one.
The largest cow raising operation on the west coast of the United States sits right next to Interstate 5. Thousands of people drive right by the facility every day. They smell the foul air long before they reach the 800-acre feedlot, where over 100,000 cows are confined at a time. They see the animals standing together in pens of dirt and manure, but what they don't see, because the industry would never want them to see it, is the slaughterhouse, 1 hour away, where these gentle animals are shot with a captive bolt gun, hoisted, stabbed, and dismembered in a process of systematic violence.
As I said at the beginning, we need to be objective about certain facts, and I don't feel like bone health is one of those things, at least not from the data I've seen. Let's talk about the last of her claims, substituting milk with beer. If we want to substitute something, we need to substitute it with something similar. If I were to substitute cow's milk, I would simply use a plant alternative for it. I don't know if it's just me, but I don't see anybody pouring some beer into their cereals. Yeah, I feel like that's a weird combination. What's even worse is promoting alcohol consumption. Alcohol consumption is not healthy, not even in moderation. All the studies that have shown a positive association between alcohol or moderate alcohol consumption and health outcomes didn't adjust for a few important things. The abstainer-user bias. They put even ex-alcoholics into the abstainer groups. Or they didn't take into consideration if those abstainers were abstaining alcohol because they were sick. Obviously, if you're having cancer or cardiovascular diseases happening, you are less likely to consume alcohol. As soon as we start adjusting for these things, we can see the mortality risk increasing. So again, Peter, I love the work you're doing, but please be a little bit more objective about the claims you're making. While doing so, you're causing more harm than good. What are your thoughts about this topic? Feel free to let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to follow for more.